What's up, YouTube? I told you guys I'd bring you an update on this, and here I am. Those two lines back here, the gas tank actually fell off, and then it pulled the other one out. The one was already out, so what I decided to do was just stick some temporary fittings in here and try it. And the customer brought the starter, so anyways, I did that, and I connected that, and then I went and got the starter. And as soon as I got to the starter, I noticed that there was a problem. And then, against my better judgment, I looked it over. It doesn't look like a horrible starter or anything, you know. But I said, I'm going to go ahead and put it on. And usually I wouldn't even try with something this cheap. But, so I put it on, and it cranked over the truck okay. Not off the key. The command on the key wouldn't work, but this truck is having some kind of freaking out going on with the security system where it starts beeping like crazy, and all kinds of stuff is going on with it. When you first hook up the battery, then after a while it stops freaking out and starts acting normal again. But every time it's lost battery connection since it's been here, it's done that. Anyways, I cranked it over, and it started up and started idling just for a second. It was smoking real bad, and then it died. And then I had somebody come over to make sure that, because the command on the key never started working for the starter. I was just underneath using a little short 1-inch extension to cross the terminals out right here, you know. And when somebody came over and cranked it over, he said that the RPMs were working. When it was starting to idle, the oil pressure was coming up. Everything seemed okay in there. So, but then after about 45 seconds of cranking, every time this starter would start to get so hot you couldn't touch it. And I don't know if a Ford OEM starter sucks that bad, but I just don't, I don't think that's going to cut it, you know. Anyways, as I went to go install this starter, I noticed that when I went to go put my bolts in, that the casting here just didn't seem to be very good, you know, like the bolt spacing is not correct. I mean, it's just not right. And anyways, I put it on anyways, and it doesn't have any notches to hold the little notch on the wire here. So after a while, I disconnected the exciter wire and just left it hanging over to the side because I didn't want to mess anything up. And then I went down and I connected it from here to here, and then I took my wrench off, and the starter just kept cranking over, and I had to jump out real quick and disconnect the battery terminals. So I suspect there are problems with this starter. So I took it off, and I called the customer, and I told him he can send this thing back to China and go to Napa and get me something good with a warranty. And this starter, I think the problem lies within this starter, with me not being able to further diagnose what's going on. Now, as I would crank it over, I had, and even just turning the key over and letting the little pump on the frame rail run, I had a lot of fuel, a lot of air coming out right here. Now, there's potential that there's air getting in through the fittings that I have kind of rigged on here, trying to pull air up out of the tank, but there's also still the potential for the sending unit having been pulled out and having, it's probably got fuel in it to about right here. So if it had a hole in the sending unit up here, then it would be sucking air through that. But so I'm going to pull the sending unit out and wait for him to bring me a starter, and then I'm going to try my best to make darn sure that I've got everything entirely where it can't suck air on the frame rails, and go from there, I guess. But I don't know why I want to show you that starter. Now, I don't know what one's going to end up costing from Napa, but I bet it's not more than 200 bucks. And let me blow out his name on here. where I can see it through the camera, so I know that you guys can see it through the camera. But this is the bill that the alternator company gave him for the new starter straight from China. $160. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. You bring something to somebody who's charging you between $50 and $100 an hour to work on it, and bring them something to save 30 bucks that's going to set them back half a day. And that's the kind of stuff that you deal with when you work on customer stuff. But anyways, this is where I'm at with it right now. I figured I'd give you guys an update because there's no telling how long it's going to be until he gets it in gear and gets me the parts I need. So I'll show you guys real quick what we got going on over here with the house. I don't know how bad the sunlight and the wind's going to affect this video. So anyways, we have our second beam is in here, and our hole is cut where we're going to put our third beam. We just made a couple little cuts with the concrete saw, and then I hit it with the skid steer and knocked it the rest of the way out. But we're opening up some plumbing and stuff like that so we can put in our third beam, and getting everything ready to, I'm gonna come over here maybe later on today and start digging my trench so that I can drive underneath with the skid steer. But anyways, when I know more about the water truck, we did get the water truck home, it's over there. And when I know more about the water truck and when I know more about the F350, I'll bring you guys back and let you know. Thanks.